excited to have everybody here. Great day for us to wrap up this 2014 class. Just a great day. We feel like we closed just like we started, just very strong. You guys want to come in? We signed players from 10 different states. Really feel good about what we did in Kentucky. I said that a year ago, said that my opening press conference about how important it was to recruit this state. So to sign the top 4 guys in the state this year was very important to us. Big defensive class, 15 guys, 60 linemen, offensively, 13 guys with 4 O-linemen. So obviously that was important. So the 7 guys that are here are off to a good start. So very excited about this group.
Questions?
Why don't you just talk a little bit about adding Sutherland today and what that means to your play?
Yeah, very, very important. We liked Lloyd all along. Recruited him for a full year. Again, I think he's one of the top players in the state, a great football player, and he's a great student and a fine young man. So very important for us to get Lloyd.
Mark, when you guys first started putting this class together, the sort of thought was, it's the bump of a new coaching staff, but then they're going to struggle on the field. It'll be a struggle to keep it together. How much of recruiting this class was keeping it once you got them?
Yeah, that's a great point, and I think it's fair to say that I thought about that as well. And I just felt like this first year, and if you go back to last year, I'm not counting my first 6 weeks, scrambling, putting together last year's class. From signing day last year to today, I thought it was absolutely critical to have a great year. And obviously, we talked about the season, we need to improve there, play better, and we expect to do that. But with recruiting, I thought this was going to lay the foundation to turn this program. And it was a very critical year, and I felt like we really had to hit the pavement and recruit extremely hard. Could not be more proud of this staff and the way they went about their business. It was a complete team effort. These guys are very unselfish. They work extremely hard. The reason, one of the reasons why we had this success is because people come in and get to know us and know this staff. And these guys put in the time. It's not work to them, it's building relationships. And believe me, it's not always easy. They may get phone calls at midnight. They may get calls at trying to have dinner with their families, put their kids down. It's a lot of time involved. And these guys are very unselfish and did a very good job. And we did a great job of team recruiting. When a player or a prospect or a family was on campus, the people felt comfortable.
You feel like you made a statement in Ohio with this class?
I didn't set out to make a statement with that. Again, I've told you that we're going to recruit at a high level and recruit the best players we can. And, I think it's very important. When Mitch and I talked right from the very beginning, that was one of the things he and I discussed, was recruiting within a 6-hour radius of this school. There's a lot of people you can get to in a day's drive from here. So, and with me being from Ohio, that was easy. With Coach Morrow and myself being from Ohio, with just the proximity with Southern Ohio being so easy access, you can get to an awful lot of people in Ohio with a short drive.
Well, are you happy with the success you had in Ohio then?
Very, yeah, very pleased. There's a lot of good football players in Ohio, and the coach is very good coaching and very tough kids. So we anticipate them coming in and giving us that element that we need to continue to build on.
Segueing off from this Ohio success you've had overall, what does it say to the rest of the country as far as UK being looked at as a basketball school and what you've been able to accomplish?
You know what? I'm really, that's just a soundbite for me to say what it says. I'm really not worried about that. I'm worried about, doing a great job, recruiting at a high level, competing with anybody on the field or off, and that's the way we're going to go about our business. So I don't do it just to have that one soundbite and say that we're here or anything like that. I mean, we're just going about our business.
These guys have taken on the why not approach. When we talked to the guys earlier today, that's all they said, why not? Why not us? Is that kind of the slogan of this group?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't come up with that slogan. I thought our marketing people did a great job with that. I don't, but I agree with it. Why not? What the heck? Let's go. So that's kind of the approach we've had since we've been here. We're not here to play seconds to anybody. We're here to compete at a high level in a great conference. And there's a lot of challenges to that. So we understand that. We take it very seriously, and we go to work every day to get better.
Mark, do you feel like you significantly upgraded your offense with this class?
I do. I felt like, again, I like to always start with the lines because it's so critical, and those guys need some time to develop. Sometimes. Some guys are ready to go right away. But in general, when you're recruiting 10 guys on the O-line and D-line, some of those guys are going to need a year or two to develop. So I think it's very critical to always have numbers in your front. But offensively, with the playmakers we signed, we desperately needed them. As you know, we'll start with the quarterback, with Drew Barker. He's an incredible player. He's from the state, and his leadership is off the chart. So he has all the intangibles to make a difference. Running back with Michael and Boone, they're a great blend. Michael is so physical. I love everything about him the minute I saw him on tape, and then we saw him in person. And he's the type of guy that's more impressive with his pads on. And he was quite impressive with his pads off in camp. Just his agility, catching the ball, how light on his feet he was. So we love him. And Boone is a guy that changes the scoreboard. And Coach Fisher used to use that phrase a lot with offensive guys, and I agree with him. I think that's the type of guy that can make people miss, that can put some points on the board.
Coach,
And I don't want to short the wideouts because I thought we had a home run with the wide receivers, and we desperately needed them. We got great size. We got some guys that are shifty and just competitors. So I love the wideouts as well, and the tight end.
Coach, as far as Matt Nealon, what do you believe he can be for your program?
Well, it's very important. Matt was very important for a lot of reasons. I think just his talent, if you want to look at him on the field, he has great size. He's very rare. To find somebody that's 6'5 plus, 6'5 and a half, whatever Matt's weighing right now, but he's so athletic and so agile and he's very explosive, so he's a difference maker on the field. I said it earlier, there's, make no mistake about it, it's important because he's from our state, he's a great player. I think it's important to know that we can go head to head and win some recruiting battles against the best teams in the country. And I think it's important to lay the foundation for future recruits of Kentucky to say, why not come to Kentucky and build this program?
What was your level of confidence prior to him making his commitment?
I felt good about it, but you never really know. Until you get his commitment verbally and you get it in public, you never know. He and I have had some great discussions over this past year. I've really enjoyed getting to know him and his family. And that's the other point when talking about Matt, is he has the ability to make other players better. And any great player, you've heard that talked about a lot, but any great player, they affect other people. And Matt has that ability to affect other people, to make them, I think on the field, wanting to play better, maybe to play beside him, but he does a lot of good things. And it's been a joy getting to recruit him, and he's going to have a real positive effect on our program.
You didn't recruit any linebackers in last year's class, and you sort of lamented that, and this year you've more than made up for it. Is that a position where guys can play right away? I mean, obviously you need some.
Yeah, we do need some, and I think we need to continue to work with the guys we have on campus, and we need to bring in some new talent that can help us. So it definitely was an area of need.
Mark, what's your assessment of Adrian Middleton? And secondly, you haven't been here that long, but it's pretty unusual for the state of Kentucky to kick off the number of defensive linemen.
Yeah. Adrian, we loved Adrian from the start. We had Adrian, we saw him in person last summer, and we just liked the way he played. He had great size. He's a guy that kind of goes under the radar because he's kind of quiet, just goes about his business. But again, comes from a great family. Very good student and just a hard worker. And he's a guy that could play D end or eventually play D tackle. So he's very versatile.
How do you explain the attitude of high school recruits now when you're not having a long history of winning and their receptiveness to what you're selling?
Well, I think it has to do with a lot of things. I firmly believe that it's easier in some ways because of all the social media that we have. These players understand what we're doing. I tell you, we're working right now for 2015, and the 2015 recruits know what's going on with 2014. That has an effect. And again, that's all this information that they get very quickly. I think our people do a great job here with the marketing. I think our people in my office, whether it's Dan Bresowitz in recruiting, in the material and the information he gets out, whether it's through the website, Twitter, or just the mail-ins, he's very creative and works extremely hard. And and I think it has a lot to do with the commitment from our administration. I've said that time and time again. But it's the truth. To build a program, you've got to have support from the top down. We have that support starting with our president, and that's obvious with all the building and the construction that's going on campus. It's happening with our athletic director, Mitch Barnhart, and the commitment that he's given myself and this staff and these football players to be successful with the renovations of our stadium and with the new football facility.
Would you have thought a year ago that it was possible that you would have a higher recruiting class than Oklahoma, Texas, USC, historic traditional powers?
I mean, if I'm honest, we maybe had a little bit better success than I thought this quick. I knew we'd recruit good players, where it was rated and all that, and the publicity. I like it, and it helps our program and all that, but again, that's not what I'm out for. I'm out to get great players to help build this program day in and day out.
What was your turning point in this whole process? I mean, when did you really start to see things kind of snowball in your favor?
I think with Drew. I felt like that was a big part of it because of the quarterback and the way he was a natural leader, and he wanted to recruit other players. I mean, we joked about that, and I saw articles of people joking about him being the unofficial recruiting coordinator, but that was all on him. I mean, we don't direct him to do that. We're not allowed to direct him to do that, but nor would I do it. He just has that ability to be a leader, and he wanted other great players around him. And I've said that a year ago as well. Players want to be around other great players.
Can you really kind of describe, how that effect was, his effect was on the
Well, I think first the effect was that he was in state and one of the top players in the state. Thought that was important. I thought it was very important to beat quality schools on him and to know that Drew could play just about anywhere in the country where he had scholarships to, an awful lot of them. And the fact that we beat some good teams for him, I think gives you some credibility and starts that snowball effect a little bit to have that, that caught the eye of some other recruits.
They seem like the guys that we talked to, the early enrollees, not just Drew, but the other guys, they have that personality about them. Is that one of the things, especially when you're selling faith as much as anything right now, that, hey, we're going to get it done, that you need that kind of personality in a program?
You do. And they've been very solid that way. And they've got to have this group is very confident in their ability. But you know what? And I know they have some fun with the media, which is great. They have the personality, and that's good. That's good for everybody. I want them to be themselves. But as a group, they're also very humble. And I think humility is very important to have that within your program. I've read a lot of quotes from these guys that caught my eye, that they know and understand that this is just the beginning of a lot of work. And we've got some good players that's going to help this program, but we've got to go to work now and keep on building and put another great class together and do all the work, whether it be right now in winter, if they're here, or the guys that are going to show up in the summer. So I think they're very special that way.
Mark, can you talk about Ware and Randolph, what you think they could do defensively for you?
Yeah, just with Ware, Denzel, we've known him for some time, recruited him for a lot of years, He came to our camp while we were at Florida State years ago. I'm not sure if it's 2-3 years ago at least. And he was one of the best players in the camp then. And we obviously fell in love with him, started recruiting him. Coach Elliott had a great relationship with Denzel. But he's very versatile. He's extremely explosive. He will play. People ask me all the time what we'll do with him. He'll put his hand in the dirt and he'll learn how to play defensive end. But he's also versatile enough to stand up and play some of the things in the 3-4 and be able to move around and be creative because he has a lot of ability. I had an opportunity to watch him play basketball a couple weeks ago, and surprisingly, he had a lot of talent. He was good. He knows how to play basketball. It's not just athletic ability out there. He kind of surprised me a little bit, but you did see his athletic ability, his burst, and how strong and how quick he jumps, and just all those things. So very talented. And with Kendall, another guy I've known forever. I've known Kendall since he was a freshman at Tallahassee Lincoln. It was a school right down the road from us while my time at Florida State, and that was one of my schools. And he's come over to camps, and I've just known him for some time, and we've had a great relationship. I told him he was just meant to play for me. You know, I didn't know the school, but he was meant to play for me and to play with this team. So he's very excited. He's a great player, very versatile. So he was one of those guys that, regardless of whether you were shooting for X amount of DBs or wideouts or whatever it might be, he's just the type of quality person and player that you have to have on your team if you can get him.
We spoke about this often about the secondary last season and needing to get better on the back end. Clearly targeted a bunch of guys back there. How do you feel?
I feel very good as a group. I think what you'll hear me talk about as a group, and like I said about every one of them, is versatile. And I like that in the secondary. I like guys that can play corner, nickel, dime, safety. We do a lot of things, and there's a lot of packages involved in today's football. And that's what I love about this group. In general, I think they're tough, hard-nosed guys, versatile, and explosive. So.
Coach, as far as redshirt, anyone stand out in terms of?
I never know. You know, you never know. You don't want to put any limitation on anybody. And sometimes you're counting on a guy, maybe he's not ready to go, so you just never can tell with who's going to come in and contribute. I anticipate there'll be some. Jared Rubio is recovering from a knee surgery right now. He's one that, you know, if he was healthy, would probably be ready to come in and help, but he may need a red shirt just because of the injury.
Speaking of injuries, what about Darius Glass?
Darius should be fine. He's, you know, had an injury and it didn't quite heal up the way it needed to. He went back in and had surgery, and everything should be fine. He just needs time to heal. And we need him to be ready. I mean, he's a guy that I'd be shocked if he didn't come in and have an immediate impact. I mean, Darius is a very, very explosive guy.
Mark, probably the most unsure question is people want to know how many of these kids might be able to help you like next year, and obviously you haven't seen them on the field in the spring and all that stuff, but I got to throw it out there.
Yeah. You know, the simple answer is they will help. You know, what capacity and how much and all that, I don't know. And you know and I know that's the tricky question when you're trying to put, you know, you're trying to tally up the wins and losses. And you know enough about me that I'm never going to put myself in a position to, you know, make a prediction on wins and losses and things like that. But they will help us, you know, when that reflects in how many wins, you know, I'm not sure.
Coach, along those lines, having you enrolled early and in your experience, how realistic is it to say that you could compete for a starting job?
I fully expect Drew to come in and compete right now. His butt better be working and throwing right now as we speak. So, no, I don't think, I'm not afraid to play Drew if he's ready to go. So we'll see. He'll have a fair shake, and I'm counting on him getting out there competing.
Mark, we talked to Dorian Hendricks earlier. He talked about some of, you know, his influence on some of the other guys in the class, and he also said he was talking to Avery Williamson about some, you know, things he needed to learn from him. Does he have some of that potential to be that kind of?
He does. Just a solid kid. You know, just very good football player. Carries himself the right way. Great family. Very important to him. So he's definitely a guy that can have a positive effect on some other players.
TV Williams, TV talked about as far as his interesting weight plan. Is that something, I mean, how concerned are you about him being able to get up to the kind of weight you'd like to see? What would you like to see him at?
he definitely needs to gain some weight, he knows that. And he needs to get in that weight room, he needs to eat properly and all that. That's why we have talented people working with him there. And, you know, but he needs to get stronger and gain some weight, so we'll see. You know, again, he's one of those guys that, you know, he's one of those guys that can make a difference if you give him 2, 3, 4 touches a game sometimes. He can make a difference, so we'll see where that goes.
What would you like to see him at weight-wise?
I'm not sure. I let our strength and conditioning people, let Eric handle that, but, you know, he has some guidelines of good weight that he wants to put on guys.
You mentioned the new practice facility. How much were you able to sort of use that? This is potentially coming, or it might be coming to sell this
You know what, not a lot. You know, we told them that we had plans to try to get this done, but it wasn't like we had some rendering and we're showing it to them and all that, because we weren't sure. And so, you know, I think they understood that this place was committed.
How does that change the game for you moving forward, that facility?
I think it helps an awful lot. I think putting together such a good class this year, and now, you know, having that and having shovels in the ground and seeing things happen, you know, hopefully will help us in the future.
Mark, when you talk to, or when I talk to recruits and coaches, one thing they mentioned about why kids came here was the honesty of this staff. You know, can you explain exactly what that means? I mean, other staffs are dishonest, or what do you think they're saying when they say that?
Oh, I would never say that. You know, it's really important to me as the head coach, and you know, we have a great staff, first of all, but, you know, we are who we are. You know, people ask me all the time, well, what's the pitch? What's, you know, and we just go about our business and go to work every day, and we are who we are. We don't try to be anything else. We don't talk bad about other programs. We talk about the good things that we're doing here. We get very specific with them. It's not just lip service. It's not just being their buddies and giving them some silver tongue speech. We go in great detail of the plans that we have, offensively, defensively, special teams, how we're going to develop them, how we plan to use them. And I think it's a credit to our staff with how many times they got these guys on campus to build that bond with one another and with the staff.
Mark, along those lines, some of the guys during the process said that it helped them that you guys kind of braced them for you not having great success on the field this year. Was that a conscious thing? Did you guys discuss how to approach that with recruits?
Well, yeah, I think it was something that we had to let them know, that we knew we maybe didn't have a team that was going to go out there and win 10 games. And again, I think the message is very clear. We're getting better every day. We're going to compete against anybody on the field or off, and we're just going about our business, and we want you to be a part of it. And they bought in, and these guys aren't afraid either.
Coach, non-football question. What's it like to be part of the last refuge for fax machines everywhere?
I may say fax all day, but we don't use the fax today either. We were using a computer, so. But for us, it's kind of cut. The paper comes out of the same printer, so it's just like a fax machine to me. So I don't care. As long as it comes out of that printer and they give us the okay, I was good with it.
The thing that really stands out about this class is maybe that you guys were able to keep them together, especially so many that committed early.
Very unique. This is one of the most unique recruiting experiences I've ever been a part of. This group was so solid for so long. And just like I said in the opening statement, we finished strong just like we started, with very few hiccups in between. We had our battles, but that's fun. That's what we're here for, to compete every day, and we compete in recruiting. And but this group has been so solid, and again, I think that's a testament to the staff. We get them here, we got to know their families. With me going on the road, and I don't even know exactly how many living rooms I was in, but we shot a very high percentage of guys that we brought in here for an official visit, and what we signed was unusually high percentage. I want to say right in the area of 36 official visits and signed 28. I mean, so, and then just to have one decommitment for this entire year with this type of signing class was very, very unusual. And so when I go in all these homes, and Usually you're in there trying to close and sell and all those things, but most of the time these guys were ready to go. And it was really just a celebration. So it was nice to get in there with this staff and to go into these prospects' homes and visit with their family. And I'm telling you, normally it's about an hour, hour and a half in there. I'm in there for 3 hours, 3.5 hours just hanging out with these families, spending time. And that was a lot of fun because you could see why the prospects are who they are because they have great families.
What was sort of the magic number of guys that you felt like were on the fence that you had to pull back in?
I felt I was keeping my eye on a couple guys down the stretch here. But again, that's just how we go about our business. We don't take anything for granted. We recruited every bit as hard last night and today as we did last year, the day after signing day, the whole year. I mean, we recruited from start to finish extremely hard. Don't take anything for granted and go about our business the right way.
Can you clarify Michael Mathis' status?
That was an error on my part. He is not with us. Yeah, that was an error on my part on the list I gave you a little while ago.
Coach, you can't
We reached our limit of 28.
Coach, you can't argue how unprecedented this class is for you guys. Do you also look at how you compare to the rest of the conference? Because it's still really impressive.
Yeah, I was all excited, earlier saying what we were doing and everything. Somebody told me where we finished in the conference. I said, what? So that's where we live, and that's why we're excited to be in this conference. And I know Mitch, embraces that challenge all the time, and we do as well. We enjoy competing in this conference. It's very difficult, but it's also a lot of fun, and we just want to keep on fighting.
Mark, when you get Matt Elam to the type of shape you want him to be in, what do you envision him as being? Is he going to be more of a playmaking defensive lineman? Is he going to be more of a guy that attracts the attention of the offensive line to help let others make plays?
I think that's what's very unique about Matt is he is a playmaker. He's not just a big body in there taking up space. He is extremely athletic. I tell you, when Neil and I went and watched him play, watching him stretch, I was amazed because he could sit down. He was so athletic and so limber. I mean, he could sit in his house. He was stretching, and just his flexibility amazed me. So, and then you watch him play, and he's so explosive, and he finishes plays so well. Matt knows he needs to get in shape, and Matt's working on that right now. And I believe it's important for Matt to get in shape, and I believe one of the reasons why we signed Matt is because, again, he looked at what we've done in the past. He's got Coach Brumbaugh to work with, who's a disciple of the legendary Pete Jenkins, who we believe in D-line techniques. DJ Elliott was the D-line coach at Florida State, and I was the defense coordinator. Now he's got the head coach, the defense coordinator, and his position coach all speaking the same language on D-line technique. I think that was a big part of it, and something we don't take for granted. I mean, we show him exactly the drills that we're going to do, how we're going to train him, and how we're going to help him achieve all his goals.
So when you're talking about specifics earlier, when you're talking about specifics earlier,
it's a big day, so
They got Neil and DJ.
it's force
They're on the other guys. They got a long
force of habit. When you talk about specifics, you're talking about each individual player. Here's what we want to do with you. Here's the plan we have for you. Not just like this is the offense we run or the defense we run.
Right. We like to show them in great detail the techniques that we use and how we train them and how it applies to football. And that's why it's important to get them on campus and to get them around and have them watch and practice if they can. Get to camps because they can see us coach them and see the techniques they use and just our general approach to coaching and all those things. So we do try to be very specific with them. It's not just, we build relationships and personal relationships, but it's also we try to go into great detail. And really that's how we try to go about our business with everything in our program.
Mark, can you just talk about the success Vince Marrow had and then the decision to give him the promotion if he'll have any more?
Yeah, Vince has done a great job. Everybody knows that. And he has a great ability to connect with these recruits and their families. I will say that is a credit to the whole staff. With being from Ohio and myself, I hope it's out there too, no, but being from Ohio and having, our whole staff actively recruited every one of those guys. And so I do give him his credit, that's why he got the promotion that he deserved. But it was a staff, it was a group effort, but he does a great job. And I said that a year ago, and I say it again, he's a joy to go into a home with. He's got that sewed down, and you know, it's just fun to go in there. I will say, again, you know, don't look at just numbers. I mean, look at some of the things that this staff did, and it really amazes me. You know, Coach Elliott pulling in Lloyd Tubman, you know, at the 12th hour. Neil Brown and John Schlarman, you know, everybody was talking about different guys and their obstacles with recruiting that day when that ice storm hit. Well, they were in Alabama, and I'll let him tell you a story. I think they were in the car for 4 or 5 hours and went 3 miles, and they parked their car and walked the last mile to the school, and then they got locked out of the school for the night. So they slept in the school. And, you know, Chad Scott going to, and he would never tell me this, I go to the home visits and just the connection that he has with the family. And seeing him and them talking about how Chad was in their classes. I mean, going to class with them from morning all the way through, just sitting in classes. I think they asked him to get up and do some literature or something. He said, that'd be a violation, I can't do that. So, you know, Chad doesn't want to talk to anybody, but just the connection that they all have. Tommy Maynard going in and pulling guys out of the D.C. area and South Carolina, beating quality schools there. I could go on and on, Coach Pivito, all of them. You know, I don't want to slight any of them. I just think all of them did an excellent job. And you don't sign a class like this in the situation we're in without everybody doing their part. And Dan Breslowitz behind the scenes, Dan doesn't like any credit. He doesn't want to hear it. He's a guy that, you know, when I worked in Arizona, he was our recruiting coordinator. He had 5 kids under the age of 5. And every day, after a long day, I'd see him dragging a dolly to his car with 4 boxes of recruiting material. And after his kids went to bed, he'd be working on that all night. You know, so those are the kind of guys that help this thing go.
You just finished this class, but these days recruiting's a year-round thing, and you're already
We're
aggressively
off,
in
yeah,
with the next
we're off and
one.
running. Yeah.
Can you talk just about maybe a couple of priorities that you have set out for this
Good
next
football
one?
players. So we need, you know, it'll be a lot the same, I think. You know, we could always use a home run running back. Know where I can find one? And we're always going to continue to build on the D line and just, you know, we're going to continue to recruit quality players and guys that are good leaders, but we're going to need help in a lot of positions again. We'll have a pretty good size class again next year. I don't know if it'll be this big, but it'll be a good group.
Mark, while we have you, can you talk about the guys who were injured getting healthy for spring and what Max is doing and any updates on the current team?
Yeah, Max is going to be banged up. I don't think he'll get to compete at all this spring. So that's going to hurt us and hurt Max. But other than that, guys are getting healthy. Trayvon is getting a procedure done that'll probably keep him out of spring as well. But overall, the group is doing extremely well. We're very excited about their attitude, their work ethic. I think we're doing some very good things in the off-season, trying to continue to promote and develop leadership. And the guys just really have a good attitude. They're really going about their business the right way in the weight room. Coaches are back off the road. We're allowed to start meeting with them and have our winter conditioning program go. So good things are happening.
Can you talk about them position changes? You don't save that for later.
Yeah, let me save that for later. I haven't really thought much about that, to be honest with you. So.
Coach, not using a fax machine is kind of huge.
What's that?
Not having to use a fax anymore is kind of a big deal.
You're stuck on that fax.
It's not like we are marveling at it. So how do recruits get it to you?
Where's Brez? I don't know.
The
They-
fax is email.
They faxed his email on the computer, then he just prints it off. But again, to me, it's the same printer as the fax machine was, so it comes off the same way, so. I mean, but we get it, through the email first, and then we print it off and all that. And, as we're getting those fax in and everything, or, you hear me, I'm not going to talk about that for years, fax. But as we're getting the documents in, it's just, sometimes they may forget to date it here, or put the time in right, and all those things. So we got to make sure it's all done properly before we release it.
Do you see Tubman in sort of a Jason Hatcher type role, or is he?
Lloyd, I think, is a guy that's very versatile, but we plan on keeping him right where he's at. He's a defensive end. He's going to learn to play with his hand down. He is versatile enough to stand up, but I think he's going to be a very, very big guy, very quick. I mean, he's 6'4.5" right now, and he's going to put on weight. He's got a great frame, so very excited about the win.
Mark, what do you expect from Mike Andrews?
Mike is, again, another guy we just loved from the very beginning. Just a very good player. Watched him play practice in basketball. Very explosive, very quick. Mike plays very nasty. He'll come up and strike you. So, again, just a very versatile guy that I really like. So.
Am I safe to say?
Well, again, I'll just wrap it up with saying, you're safe now. Just wrap it up with saying, just appreciate a lot of people's efforts. From the hotels we stay at here with our recruits and the service they give us, to the people that feed us our meals in the restaurants, the staff, our administration, so many people behind the scenes. It's a fun day because we kind of put a wrap on a lot of hard work, but then it gives us that excitement to build for next year and where we're headed. But just want to reiterate how much I appreciate this coaching staff. To this point, we've been able to keep everybody in place. I hope to do that. They're a very talented group with a great work ethic, but they've done a great job, and appreciate all of you. Thank you.